pictures and some commentary thereof. Dave?
Okay, let me share my screen. Let's go with this one. Share. Okay. Is everybody seeing my screen?
I see your screen just fine. You want to go into present mode.
Yes. From the beginning. Okay, so last Sunday I attended the electronics flea market in Saratoga, California. And the first question you might ask is, where the heck is Saratoga? Well, here's the Bay Area, and I'm in Mountain View, and zooming in a little bit, you'll see Saratoga in the middle bottom there. Pretty easy for me to get to, just taking 85, and it's in the at West Valley College right here in the middle. And they had a nice setup where they had a parking area and the vendor area, and it was basically these three rows of stuff here. It was pretty chilly there in the morning, but not unbearable, obviously. So you park down here, and luckily I got there a little bit later, and there was somebody leaving, and he gave me his parking ticket so I can put it on my dashboard, and I didn't have to pay. So that was $3 savings right there. So the first thing I encountered was
That's how Valley pays for the use of the space. So cheating them out of the bucks is not a good idea.
Right. Anyway, carrying on, the first thing I came across was this bunch of oscilloscopes, and they were like really old, and he was basically, giving them away for free, so it wasn't charging anything. So that's the first thing I came across. Typically people bring a table or put a mat on the ground with their stuff on it, and just people walk by, and the sellers are behind the stuff, and you walk down the aisles, and there's maybe prices on the things, or maybe you just have to ask on how much they're selling things for. This was pretty interesting. Those green things are the one laptop per child. And I think this guy bought two of them for $100. I have no idea if they were working or not, but this is the kinds of things you see, and that was sort of unusual to see those laptops. Here's a whole case of remote controls.
The last instance of open boot.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So, there are people who maybe just collect these kinds of things and sell them in mass. So this is an example of, remote controls. And then there's this guy that had these boxes and boxes of laptops, and I don't know what shape they were in, if they were working or not or whatever, but it's sort of interesting, seeing all these laptops together and, rifling through them, as if they were like, LPs and stuff, looking at them. I didn't do that, but there's just, a ton of them, and there's some Apple laptops in the back there. This guy was selling Marantz hi-fi stuff, and speakers, and here's some old Apple, Macs, portables, and classics. Again, I didn't see a price on these things, and I saw this one lying on the ground, the K Pro 2, which I've had some experience with. And there was also an old Osborne for sale as well. So here are more laptops, a little bit, maybe a little bit more reconditioned and in working order. And there was like, 4 tables for these things. So that was pretty interesting. I have no idea where they came from, but this person, was selling them. Yeah, so this is all the same vendor. And there you can see on the left-hand side, you can see the Osborne computer. Yep. This guy had a whole table of power supplies. These were fixed voltage power supplies of various voltages and capacities. It didn't look like these were, commercial products. It almost looked like they were like kits that he had put together, but I didn't ask. Ham radio stuff. This is old Hal crackers, I believe. Don't know its operating condition, but there's a bunch of these. More oscilloscopes, and this guy actually had a generator to hook them up to each one to show that they were actually working, and there's some prices on them as well. And here's a whole table of cameras and lenses, and in your easy bake oven if you ever needed one. Yeah. And of course, everybody needs a mortar and pestle, so $5 each. So haven't seen these a lot. And it's mortar and pestles are not electronic, so maybe this disqualifies as to be at the fair anyway. So this guy had a trunk of Drake, a transmitter, receiver, and amplifier, and there's a bunch of them in the back. And I recall I had a high school friend who had a transceiver version of this back in late 60s, I remember, and that was all the hot stuff. And these were tube units back then, and they were very high quality. And then you have this D104 microphone. Yeah, I remember that. I used to be a ham, but never got quite this far. And your typical box of dolls for sale, and of course your obligatory IBM PC. And it looks like the hard disk and the floppy disk are pushed back inside of it, so it could be like empty on the inside. And that's it. Yeah, so again, it was a pretty nice event, and it's good to see those old stuff, and a little bit of nostalgia for me. So I'll be going again, and just more to look at stuff than to be buying stuff. Thank you, John, for your clapping hands. Any questions?
Well, I have a comment, Dave. Mortar and pestle, if you do any cooking or if you have popcorn, it's because what you want to do is when you put salt on popcorn, you want to grind the salt down to a fine powder. Because usually if you just dump it in, then it just usually stays on the top. If you have buttered popcorn, it goes to the bottom if you don't. And having a dust-like salt is really nice. So yeah, that's my idea.
Thank you for that important information.
Oh yeah, I want to get one. No.
Well, I mean, if you want to, I can buy one for you next time if they're there and mail it to you.
It's okay, Dave. I can get one here in Vegas.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, I'm in Vegas right now.
Just
right.
remember that before you buy a mortar, that you have to register it with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, Fast Cars, and Party Boats.
Are you being facetious, Kevin?
Yes.
Good.
And And just be careful you don't buy one that was used in an engineering laboratory. We used to grind up dirt in ours.
Yeah, well,
or chemistry lab.
yeah, those look like they were brand new, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about mortars, you have to register. Canon, on the other hand,
Oh, yes.
so you could, in most states, you can buy Canon. So that was my canonical comment for the day. Without further ado, everybody done with Dave? Thank you so much, Dave. I really enjoyed that, especially the opportunity to heckle you. I hope you didn't mind too much.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for suggesting that I take pictures at that event and being able to present it to everybody today. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope this isn't a one and done. The last time they restarted this was at a library in Sunnyvale, the library in Sunnyvale, and apparently the nearby homeowners were out in force complaining that this was an inappropriate use of parking lot. I guess there are houses near this. There was an 8 a.m. Quiet request.
I have a question on that. About how many exhibitors were present?
Yeah, it's hard to, you know, there was there's like 3 aisles of things, so people on both sides of that, and maybe 10 people per aisle, so maybe like 60. So it's pretty well attended, and it all was seemed under control, and you know, it's on the campus there, so there's no residential area right there, and there wasn't anything else going on campus. So I would guess that there wasn't any problems, and we'll see this you know, happening uninterrupted this season.
Yeah, my guess is 60 is a bit high. I would say more like 30 to 40, but it just goes to show you they didn't seem to be as well attended and well populated with exhibitors as former flea markets in recent years.
Well, maybe the word will get around about this to people who weren't aware, and maybe it'll be more attended more fully next time. I don't know.
Yeah, it may be that folks wanted to see how it turned out before they invested their time, effort to do that. All right. Finally, today.